Welcome to the third part of my video series of intermediate instrument flying. My name is Vikas. I'm FA commercial pilot, multi-engine and single engine instrument rated. So we were talking about radial interceptions in the first video. We talked about DME arcs, basically radial interception progressing into a DME arc. And today's video will be talking about course reversals. Okay, course reversals, what are course reversals now? Basically, you're flying in the opposite direction, or you're in the opposite part of the fix, or the wherever the point the approach is starting. So you're on the opposite side. You have to get on the right side and turn in the right direction to make a safe landing towards the landing runway. Remember, we are instrument flying, so we are not able to see anything outside. So you have to look at your instruments. So you have to be in the correct position to land. That's the main objective of course reversals. Okay, now let's have a look at the three types of course reversals and how to fly each of them. The basics still have to remain the same. It's basically intercepting a particular radial, flying it outbound or inbound, and making turns with respect to that radial and that navigational aid. So your basics with navigational aid and radials have to be good, right? Okay, let me share my screen and let's start off with this. Okay, here we go. Right, course reversals. So as I told you, we are on the opposite side. You have to get on the right side. Mostly, we'll be talking about VOR or ILS approaches. Sometimes it can work for GPS approaches as well, but most of the time GPS approaches are configured in such a way you're on the right side to make the approach. Okay, let's consider our same fix. Okay, fly Foxtrot Lima Yankee. Now, we are making an approach. So you have to be on the right, correct side. Let's say there's a runway over here. Okay, and you are somewhere to the north of the runway and you're flying in a north or a southwesterly heading. Okay, so are you in a position to land? Remember, you can't see the runway. If you keep descending down, you go into the ground and crash, which you don't want to do. Is that correct? So you have to go towards a certain fix or a navigational aid, a fix in case of a GPS, or a navigational aid in case of conventional navigation methods. So you have to go towards that, reverse your course. Basically, what they want you to do is go towards this fix. Then once you fly towards the fix, they want you to reverse your course and then towards the runway so you can make a safe landing. Now, there are many methods of doing it. Not many, just 3 methods of doing it. Obviously, if you go to the fix, it's not like I'm drawing a pen, or it's not like you can draw a line in the sky just with turning an airplane. I mean, if you're flying F-16, yeah. But you're probably flying A320 or 737. In case training, you're flying a Cessna or a Piper, right? So there are procedures defined for this. Let's talk about the 3 ones. First, let me explain how each of these 3 procedures look like and how do you fly them and how these looks on your instruments as well, right? So the first procedure is the simplest one, a 45-degree procedure turn from your fix, right? So what you'll do to make this happen is basically the same thing as we did with our DME approaches. Intercept a radial. Okay, and then fly inbound or outbound. Then the third step will be procedure turn. It's a very easy thing. It seems complicated, but it's mostly published. Let me show you an example in this for this video. And when we come back in the end of this video series, we'll construct an entire instrument approach to a landing virtually in our heads by looking at different charts and our instruments. Okay. Third step is your procedure turn. Last step is intercept the same radial but in the opposite direction. Now, does it start to make sense? You're changing your course, but being on the same radial. How does this look? Virtually, so basically, you go, let's say, there is a radial of 270 degrees from the fly VOR. So you fly to the VOR, make an intercept. Let me choose a different color for this. You make a 45 degree or a 90 degree, in this case, a 45 degree intercept. So you go, then you fly outbound. So we did the first step and the second step. Now we're doing the procedure turn. It may be a left or a right as published. Okay, I'm going to show you a chart for that. You make a procedure turn. Procedure turns are usually 45 degree turns. They don't require excessive bank or any sort of crazy maneuvers. It's a very simple 45 degree turn. In this case, let's consider a 45. Now you're going outbound on a heading of 270 degrees. The procedure turn, let's say, is towards your left. So you make a 45 degree turn towards your left. So 270 minus 45, that will be 225 degrees, right? So you start flying a heading of 225 degrees. For how long and for what distance? This is usually published in the chart or instructed by ATC, right? Once you fly that much, what do you have to do in the third step? Intercept the same radial in the opposite direction. How do you do this? Just make a 180 degree turn, come back, intercept, again, a 45 degree intercept. At this point, your nose of the aircraft should make a 45 degree angle with the radial. Once you have done that, once you've intercepted it, you start flying the same radial inbound. Whoa, you just reversed your course on the same radial. This is as simple as it gets, right? For the first part, until here, it's the same as your radial intercept would look on your instruments. After that, it's very easy. You ignore the CDI until you make the procedure turn. Once you've made the procedure turn, you make a 45 degree turn. You just look at your heading indicator, turns towards the particular heading as mentioned, 225 degrees in this case, right? Fly for whatever distance or time as specified, and then you don't look at your CDI at all again. You have to make a 180 degree turn, right? Just look at your heading for maintain standard rate on your turn coordinator. Keep turning, keep turning, keep turning until you make a 180 degree turn. 225, 180 would be what? 225, 180 would be 035 degrees. No, 045 degrees. Yeah, 045 degrees. Now, do you see the pattern now? You're already at a 45 degree heading to your radial. It's 270 radial. Keep coming inbound. Your CDI starts getting centered. Once your CDI, now in this portion, this is how your instrument should look like. You should have tuned, sorry for that. You should have tuned the proper course inbound, right? You should have set it to 090 degrees because your landing runway is in the direction of 090 degrees, correct? So you set it to 090. In this portion, your aircraft is on a heading of 0.45 degrees. This doesn't show on the instrument, but it shows on your heading indicator, right? And the CDI is deflected somewhere like this, and it slowly starts getting centered. Once it's centered, you follow the heading of 090 degrees, turn the aircraft. So the heading indicator is also 090, and then you just follow the radial inbound and land. This is the first type of course reversal with the procedure turn. This is the most common one, and this is the most common published procedure as well. Okay. Next one. Oh, you need to remember one super important thing in course reversals. When you're flying the outbound leg, or when you're flying away from the fix and you've tuned in the opposite direction, your indications suddenly start acting weird. What do you mean by weird? Weird as in, if you're moving towards the left, the CDI starts deflecting towards the right. You do not see the left deflection because you're going in the opposite course as to whatever you're tuned. This is called as back course. It's not an error of the instrument. It's just that you're going in the opposite direction of the course, whatever you're tuned. So in the initial portion here, we saw you're going towards 270, but you have tuned 090 degrees. That's why this back course happens. You have to keep this in mind for the next two parts as well of the course reversals, because whenever you're going in the opposite direction, your CDI starts acting funky. It shows opposite deflection. So to stay on the radial, if the CDI starts moving towards your left, you make corrections towards the opposite direction. That's towards your right. This is only for this portion I'm talking about. Once you've made the procedure turn, once you're back towards correct direction and the correct course, it's all normal. If the CDI deflects towards the left, you make corrections towards the left. This is only in this portion. Remember this. Okay, let's talk about the second course reversal procedure, the teardrop procedure. This is fairly simple, just like the procedure turn procedure. You have a navigational aid and you're somewhere over here. And you want to make a teardrop procedure. So it's fairly simple. Now, instead of intercepting the radial, you fly directly towards the VOR or the navigational aid or the fix. How do you do this? Just turn your OBS, center the CDI in the correct direction so that you don't have back course again. Center it. Once you have centered, you will fly directly towards the VOR. So you fly directly towards the VOR. Once you've done that, whatever course you want to be on, let's say you want to be in the end of the procedure, you want to be on a course of 090 degrees, you make a 30-degree turn, not a 45 now, remember, a 30-degree turn. First step, sorry for that. First step, fly to the nav aid. Second step, 30-degree turn. Third step, we'll talk about that. So you make a 30-degree turn towards the opposite of 090, which is 270. 270 minus 30, which will be 240 degrees. So you start flying a heading of 240 degrees. Okay. How long do you fly? Again, it's as published or as told by ATC. How far or how long do you fly? Okay. Fly outbound from the nav aid. Once you've done that, then it's the same as this. Intercept the same radial in the opposite direction and come back and land. So you make a turn like this, intercept the same radial, that's 090 radial, but from the opposite direction. So you start going towards the runway which you're supposed to land on. That's it, okay? Now, again, first you start off with whatever heading you are, you're going towards the navigational aid, you turn to a heading of 240 degrees in this case. Then you start making your turn. Your turn has to be standard right here. And you make sure that you intercept the radial that you want to go back. It should just look the same on your inbound part of the course reversal. And again, when I told you, when you're going away from the fix and you tune the opposite course, in this portion, you will have back course. Remember this. So do not rely on your CDI, just rely on your heading indicator for this portion. Okay, that's your second type of course reversal. And the third type of course reversal includes a new topic, which we'll talk about in the next video. It's basically holds. So to give you a brief idea of how these work, there's a fix, and there's a radial, and then there's a hold. Let me draw that nicely. Okay, there's a hold. You need to enter the hold with the correct procedure to enter the hold. Then you keep doing the holding pattern until you're clear to land, and you continue inbound towards the fix. Once you're done with the hold, and you go towards your landing runway and land. This is your third part of the course reversals. To understand this, to better understand this, you need to understand how and what are the different types of entries for the hold. So this I'll talk about in the next video, and we'll come back to this portion in the next video, in the last part of the next video. So once I explain how to enter into a hold, what are the parts of a hold, etc., and how it looks on the instruments, then once you understand that, you just enter the hold. Once you complete one turn in the hold, once you're on the inbound leg, we'll talk about what's the inbound leg in the holds parts of the video. You just follow inbound towards the fix, and you keep going towards your landing runway and land. That's third part. That's the third type of course reversal. That's it for today's video, and I'll see you in the next one.